Welcome to Disney Alice Through the Looking Glass movie review. In the beginning of the movie, you see a cat smile in the sky. It was a dark and stormy night on the sea. There was a ship on the ocean. Year was 1874. The man was shouting at the sir. The man was said to the captain. Alice said, surrendering my father's ship will not guarantee survival, Mr. Phelps. Alice said to hold on, everyone. The man was shouting for help. Alice climbed up and got more sails. Alice said, set a course for London Harbor. Alice went back home safe. Alice was in a room looking at a map. The clock stopped ticking. London 1875. The man said, Captain, she left the ship. Alice's mum was waiting for her. The man told about Lord Ascot passed away. Alice said, Hamish. The butterfly followed her. Alice said to her mum, China's incredible. We followed the Yangtze deep into the interior. Most of the people had never seen a person with yellow hair before. Alice said she was afraid. Alice was talking about time. Alice's mum was bringing the tea. Alice's mum said, I hear the Ascots are making Hamish's succession tonight. Alice went, perfect. Alice said, nonsense. Lady Ascot once said we would always be welcome. Besides, I have a proposition for Hamish. Alice's mum said, Hamish married last year, Alice. Alice said, a business proposition, mother. Alice's mum said, you're leaving again. So soon. Alice and her mum went to the party. Alice's mum said, I do wish you'd worn that yellow dress. Alice said, if it's good enough for the Dowager Empress of China, then it's good enough for the Ascots. Alice's mum said, must you always be so headstrong? Alice said, no. It's just more fun than way. The blue butterfly followed her. Hamish said to Alice, well, welcome home. We were afraid you might never come back with our ship. Alice said, my ship. Hello, Hamish. Hamish's wife is not happy Alice is back. Alice said the world. Hamish's wife said yes. Hamish was drinking his drink. Alice said highly enjoyable. You should visit it sometime. Alice said to the board, the world has opened to us, but we must move quickly. It is my belief that further explanations along the Wu River, Hamish doesn't them to do any more exploring. Alice said what? Hamish said Alice has to wait. Alice said this isn't about China, is it? The board was laughing at her. Hamish wants Alice to sell the ship to him. Alice's mum was listening. Alice walked off. Alice said, how could you sell our shares? Alice's mum said, everything I do is for you, Alice. Alice said 5 minutes ago, she was the sea captain. Alice said, I once believed I could do as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. Alice's mum said, that is a child's dream, Alice. The wonder is just a ship. Alice said, it's not just a ship. It's father's ship. Everything he loved. Butterfly found Alice, and she was chased the butterfly. The butterfly went inside the mirror. Alice put her hand in first. Alice went into the wonderland. Alice knocked Humpty Dumpty over, then all of the chest's pieces were around him. They were making eggs jokes. Then he said, you been gone so long, Alice, and he be gone before long. The butterfly warned her, watch her step. She fell out of the door. The White Rabbit give Alice a hug. Everyone was happy to see Alice. The White Rabbit went flying. White Queen said, "Oh, the contrary. Though we were afraid you weren't coming at all." Alice said, "What's the matter? They talking about the Hatter?" White Queen said, "Tweedles," and looked at them. Alice got up and sat down. Alice said, "What happened?" The dog was telling the story and about the Hatter found the paper hat he made on his family from years ago. White Queen said, "But if anything could bring the Hatter back, it would be seeing you again." Alice said, "Where is he?" Alice walked up to his house. The Hatter said, "Go away, you can't come in." Alice was hug Alice and brought her in the house. The Hatter was talking about his family to Alice. Hatter thought his dad throw out years ago. The Hatter was told about her family. Alice said, "Hatter." Alice tried to tell the Hatter. The Hatter took Alice and closing the door on her. Alice was knocking on the door. The mouse said, "We can't lose him, Alice, we can't." White Queen said, "Unless it could." Alice said, "What?" White Queen is coming up with a plan. She was like, "Unless there was a way." Alice went, "What is it?" White Queen said, "It is dangerous. Perilous. It is too much to ask." Alice said, "What is it?" White Queen said, "Alice, you must travel back in time." White Rabbit said, "Oh no." White Queen said, "Go back into the past and save the Hatter's family." Alice said, "Back in time." White Queen went home. Alice went, "How?" Cat said, "A time machine." Alice said, "I'm sorry, the chronosphere." What? White Rabbit said, "About the legend has it also lets one travel across the ocean of time." White Queen said, "None of us can use it because we've already been in the past. And if your past self sees your future self." Alice said, "What happened?" White Queen said, "There is no history of it happening, but it is said that if it were to happen, everything would be history. Alice is going to save the Hatter." Everyone was cheering. White Queen said, "In the hands of time. It's his." Alice said, "I'm sorry. Time is a he." They walked into the room with the clock. White Queen said, "He lives in a void of infinitude in a castle of eternity. Through here 1 mile past the pendulum." She opened the clock. White Queen went shoo. She found the castle. She jumped on the hand of the clock. Alice jumping on the second hand on the clock. The clock hand moved. She got to Time Castle. Alice said, "Hello, anybody here?" She was looking around. The machine was moving. Scared Alice, she followed it. Time walked. He hit his head on the corridor. He went to a room with lots of clocks. He was doing his job. Time said, "Brilliam Hinkle, your time is up." He shut the clock. Time took the clock and went into her another room. Time saw Alice run past the door. Time said, "Who is there? I saw you. How did you get in?" "It is impossible. Come out, you little wriggling worm." Alice came out of hiding. Time went, "Oh, it's a girl." Alice said, "Please, sir. I'm sorry to disturb you, but if I could just have a moment of your time." Time walked out laughing. Said Time, "Young lady, I am Time." Time coat floated above him and landed on Heim. He said, "Unless you have a clock." Time said, so being time, I must give some of myself for you to have me. Are you following what I'm saying? Alice said yes. Time said, really? Oh, do you promise to be concise? Well, I can most. Time said, because if there's one thing I do not like, it is people who are unable, unwilling, or I compelled to form short sentences. Alice said, my friend is in mortal danger. Time said, enough of your incessant jabbering. I have important work to do. Alice said, please. You haven't answered my question. Time said, 1 minute. Why do you carry that fallen soldier in your pocket? Reveal him now. He is broken. Kaput. Alice said, it was my father's. I would never part with it. Time said to her, everyone parts with everything eventually, my dear. The magnificent grand clock of all time. The machine walked out. Alice said he was spoken to. Time said, nonsense. Alice said, hello. And who might you be? Time said, they are rather stupid. He said to them, that was rude of me. I'm sorry. Time was sitting down in his chair. Time said, so your question. What is it? You have exactly 1 minute. Alice said, it's about the Hatter Terrent Hightop. He's a great friend of mine. And recently he's convinced that his long-deceased family is still alive. Time made a time going faster. Time stopped and went ah. Time said the chronosphere. Alice said that wasn't a minute. Time said you want to borrow it. Loan it. Purloin it. Alice said yes. Time said you asked to disintegrate history. The chronosphere powers the grand clock. Alice said, but I need it. Without it, the Hatter may never get better. And I have to. Time shout for Wilkins. Alice said, thank you for your use, sir. Tom said, my what? For your time. Time said, young lady, you cannot change the past. Though I dare say, you might learn something from it. Queen of Hearts walked in and shouted at the robot. She said, oh no mind. I'll announce myself. Tick-tock. Where are you? Tick-tock. Where are you? She find time. Queen of Hearts walked in and said present. He give it to her. Queen of Hearts when him time said his present was, and also little bit of metal and wood of course. She turned it was a music box. She throw it on the robot. She started to cry. Alice sneak in to get the chronosphere. Queen of Hearts wanted the chronosphere as well. Alice grabbed the chronosphere from the clock. Time was running. Queen of Hearts said, tick-tock. Alice heard the strange noise. She was running. Queen of Hearts was running after Time, saying tick-tock. Don't abandon me when I'm sulking. Alice dropped it. Then the Queen of Hearts saw Alice. Alice got in the machine. Time said to the robot, which idiot labeled that. Alice said, how do I work this? The time machine speed up, and it was gone. She was flying in time. Alice said, it's like a ship. Hatter. Don't worry, Hatter. I'll save you and your family. Queen of Hearts said Alice. The Alice. Time went oh. White Queen said, take care, dear Alice. Ally, our hopes fly with you. Time found her and stopped her going to that time zone. Tom said, uh-huh. You. Give me what is mine. Give it back, or there will be none of me left. Tom said, come back. Come back. Time said to Alice, you cannot win in a race against time. I am inevitable. Time was singing to himself in the portal. Alice was in the past, she saw the Hatter. Alice said, Hatter. Hatter went, oh. Alice said, it's you. You're you again, and given a hug. Hatter said to Alice, well, if I'm not, I wish I was. Have we met? Alice said, yes. Well, no. I mean, not yet. Hatter was like, I feel like I should know you. Alice said, well, we have met once when I was younger. Hatter said, I'm afraid I don't recall. Alice said, that's because it hasn't happened yet. Hatter said, oh, when will it happen? Alice said, years from now. When you're older. Hatter said, I'll meet you when you're younger, and I'm older. Alice said to him, I realize it doesn't make much sense. Hatter said, makes perfect sense to me. I'm Tarrant. Alice was like, I know. I'm Alice. Hatter said, Alice, you seem to have time all mixed up. Alice said, oh, he's not mixed up at all. Actually, he's quite angry with me. Mad Hatter said to Alice, you're bonkers, aren't you? Huh. Alice said, that's what I've been told. Mad Hatter was walking saying, all the best ones are. Alice said, listen, I know it sounds strange, but I need to find your family. Mad Hatter said, oh, well, you're in luck. Right this way. Everyone was watching a celebrity, the new queen. The Queen of Hearts is not happy with the people. Mad Hatter was laughing. The box shut on its own, then everyone was looking at the Hatter. The crown broke, everyone was laughing at her. The king made the good sister to the White Queen. She said no, then the Queen of Hearts' head went big. She is playing her revenge. She run away, and crying the dad was disappointed at the Hatter. The Hatter said there, you've said it. You've said it, father. Well, if I'm such a disappointment, I don't suppose you'll be sorry if I leave home. The mum said no. Alice was running after the Hatter. Alice said, Hatter. Hatter. Wait. The Mad Hatter said, I am no Hatter. Alice said, of course you are. You're the Hatter. Or you will be at least when I knew you. Mad Hatter said, you should meet my friend Thackeray. He's nearly as mad as you. Won't you join us for some tea? Alice said, Hatter, please. You must go back to your family. Hatter said, what do you know of my family? Alice said, they're in danger. You have to warn them about Horenvindish Day. Mad Hatter said, no idea what you're talking about. But if my father sent you to change my mind, you won't. Alice said, if you don't go now and reconcile, you'll be sorry. I know you will. Mad Hatter said, maybe later, and walked away. Alice said she lost her father, and she miss him every day. If you walk away now, you will lose your father too. Alice said to the Hatter, it's forever for me. But it doesn't have to be forever for you. You can still get him back, and then you'll really be you again. And a Hatter just like him. The Mad Hatter walk away. Alice said, fine. I'll warn them myself. Alice was running to warn them. Alice said, Mr. Hightop, if I could just have a moment of your time, there's something terribly important you should know about. The White Queen come out and said, Mr. Hightop, our apologies. You know of my sister's misfortune. Mr. Hightop said, no apologies necessary, your highness. Ally of Whitsend laments the day of your sister's accident. fell day as the clock struck 6. I shall never forget that snowy night when she hit her head in the town square. She and I had. That moment changed everything. Alice said, but if that moment never happened, there'd be no Hornvindish Day. Hatter would be saved. Excuse me. She run away. White Queen said, who was that strange girl? Alice throw the time machine and travel in time again. Mad Hatter is sitting down with his friends having tea and saw a weird thing crash down. Time said, greetings, underlings. I am Time, the infinite and immortal, the personification of time itself. I know you may find this concept a little bit hard to digest, but please keep your bewilderment brief and to the point. Mad Hatter smiled. Time said, I seek a thief of meager intellect. Her hair. The rabbit said yes. Time said, yellowish. Her name. Alice. Mad Hatter said, and what is your business with her? Time said, she took something from me. I will not say what it was. It's not important. It is a trifle. I don't see why you are making such a fuss. It is as nothing. I must have it back. But not that I'm concerned. White Mouse said, oh, Time said, as soon as possible. Either way, I'm fine with the outcome. Give it to me. Who knows about it? Both went him. Time went him. Mad Hatter said, well, you are in luck, oh timely one. Because just today, I invited Alice to tea. Rabbit said, there's no room at the table. The White Mouse throw a strawberry at the rabbit. Hatter said to Time, I have always wondered when soon is. Time said to the Hatter, if you vex me, it will be an eternity. Alice saw everyone when they are young. Alice looked at the clock. It's nearly 6. Young Hatter saw Alice and said, hello. You have a very nice head. Alice said, thank you. Hatter said, and a nice head deserves a very nice hat. That's what my father says. He makes the best hats in Wits End. Would you like him to make you one? Come on. He can make any hat. Hatter took Alice and talk about hats. In the kitchen, we see a young White Queen and the Queen of Hearts. White Queen said, you're eating all the tarts. Queen of Hearts said, you can have the crusts. White Queen said, I don't want the crusts. The Queen's mum said to them, get out of the kitchen. The Hatter said to Time, is it true that you heal all wounds? White Mouse said to the cat, where have you been? You're late. Cat said, actually, I'm right on time. Everyone was laughing. Time said, enough. Young Hatter said to his dad, Father, look. Got a customer with a lovely head right here. Father went mmm. What is the hat of your heart's desire, madam? Something feathery. Something buttony. Father said, good afternoon, Mississippi. Alice said, good afternoon, sir. The function of a hat is to follow the proper dictum of society. Not to be fun. Hatter said, Father, I have something fun. Mad Hatter. Dad said, what is it? Young Mad Hatter said, it's a hat. Dad broke his hat. He was upset. Alice said, thank you ever so much, Mr. Hightop. Although I really must be on my way. Have a lovely evening. Where is she? Time said, when is she coming? Everyone was laughing. Time said, well played, sir. Well played. Mad Hatter said, thank you. Time said, you were asking me before when soon is. Let me try to explain when is now all right. Now is exactly 1 minute till tea time. And until the young Alice joins you for tea, it will always remain 1 minute till tea time. For you and your. Enjoy the present. Time fly away. Time grab Alice and bring her into the shop. She was excited that Hatter family is alive. Time said your foolishness astounds me. You have no conception of how reckless you have been. The dangers that you have caused. All room was shaken. I need that chronosphere now. It must go back to the grand clock. Alice said, but Horenvindish day. I'll only use it one more time. I must find out what happened to the high tops so I can rescue them. Time said you will rescue no one. Wherever you go, I will find you. Alice looked at the mirror, she jumped in the mirror and escaped time. Everyone found Alice on the floor at the house. Then she woke up at the hospital, then she escaped the hospital to Alice get back to the house, and went back in the mirror. Alice went back to travel in time to the past. Alice was running to save the Hatter family, then she saw the Queen of Hearts taking them away. Everyone was upstairs in the Hatter room to say goodbye to him. Everyone walked away upset. Alice stayed with him. The Hatter woke up and said, you believe me. Alice said, I'll always believe in you. It's you, isn't it? I'd know you anywhere. Mad Hatter said, you're Alice. Alice give the Hatter a hug. Alice said, I missed you so much. Alice told him the Queen of Hearts. Time saw the Queen of Hearts. She said, where the have you been? Where's Alice? Where's my chronosphere? Hmm. Time said she jumped into a looking glass. She's gone. Queen of Hearts said, what? You let her get away. Time said, I must find her. Where is she? Queen of Hearts said, how should I know where she is? Time said, because she is your enemy. Everyone was going to the Queen of Hearts castle to save the Hatter family from her. Hatter said, my family's there. I know it. Everyone went in and looked inside the castle. Red Queen has got everyone Alice and her friends. She is using the time machine and took the sister with her. Time said it's up to you now, Alice. Alice has told everyone the plan. White Queen said no. Then the Red Queen shouting at them. They all trying to escape the red thing chased them. Everyone was at time castle escape from the red thing. Everyone was frozen in red. Alice was running to put the time machine back. Alice was unfrozen when the time machine was back. Everything was back to normal. Queen of Hearts said, get off me. Why does this always happen to me? White Queen said she loved her sister. I know. I'm so sorry. Queen of Hearts said that's all I ever wanted to hear. Really it was. Hatter was happy he got his family back. He told his father he is a Hatter. Tom said yes. Alice, give the time a gift. Alice went back home to stop her mom to sell her home and the ship. She went back to explore the sea again. I give the movie 10 out of 10.